Hi, Tom here, filmmaker and FPV drone pilot, and in today's video I'm going to teach you how to do a dive with your FPV drone. You're gonna learn how to approach it safely and how to capture epic videos. But let's first explain why even do a dive besides the obvious reason that it's super fun to do. Well, there are two most common scenarios where you're gonna do this move in cinematic FPV world. First one being when you're dropping down to go follow your subject. It's a great way to enter a new scene because it will immediately capture your viewers' attention and hook them to watch the rest of your video. And that's exactly the main reason why I used a diving shot as an opening scene in my cinematic FPV drone showreel.
Cinematic FPV drone showreel by Tom Strojnik. This one has just fire right off the bat. That opening shot where he sort of loops right into the car there on the track. I mean, that grabs your attention. I think that's what a lot of people still are working on what's the opening shot that can really grab the attention of the viewer. And man, Tom had it with this one.
Yeah.
And the second scenario is when you're doing proximity flying against mountains, waterfalls, buildings, trees, and so on. Flying in an attractive location really makes a difference and can make your video stand out. So always try to do some research, try to find those cool places because it's so worth it. So yeah, a few days ago I went diving against a super cool waterfall with my cousin Blaž and my good friend Aleš. We chose this location specifically, well, because it's a 90-meter waterfall surrounded by mighty mountains, a perfect location to practice FPV drone diving. I flew with iFlight Chimera 7 and iFlight Nazgul 5 HD drones, and I gotta say that flying the 7-inch was a better choice and a better experience for this specific case because of how well it handled strong winds. You can see the waterfall going all over the place because winds were really strong, and the advantage of flying with a 7-inch is that it's heavier and therefore more stable in the air, wind doesn't affect it so much, and because it's heavier, well, it also dives faster, meaning bigger speeds, meaning the dive is even more fun to do. And the factory tune on Chimera 7 is amazing, it flies really smooth with precision, and I'm planning to release a full YouTube review soon. I still want to test the drone before I give you my feedback, but if you do have any questions that you want me to answer in the Chimera 7 review, leave a comment below this video. Okay, so let's now do the dive movement breakdown. So what's essentially happening when you're diving is that, well, you are flying directly down from height. Now the way I usually approach the dive is that I fly towards the starting position, then do a split S turn and immediately throttle to zero, again throttle to zero, and during the dive then you slowly start to adjust with micro throttle management, pitch management, depending if you want to slowly fly closer or away from the waterfall. And then once you're starting to, well, get closer and closer to the ground, you will gradually start applying throttle and pitch back and safely, hopefully safely, fly away. So let's put theory into practice. So we fly to the starting position, do a split S, and as you can hear, immediately throttle to zero, and all I'm doing is I'm using my right stick to roll and pitch to position myself as close to the waterfall as possible for proximity flying, and once I'm above the waterfall I pitch forward to continue proximity flying against the waterfall. If I didn't pitch forward, it would carry me away from the waterfall and the dive wouldn't look so good. The key to making your dives look as epic as possible is of course to fly as close as possible, because it creates a lot of depth in the composition and things are happening super fast, so your audience will really immerse into the whole visual experience. But it is sketchy and there is no room for making mistakes there, because the closer you fly, the bigger the chance that you will crash, but the reward is so worth it. You will feel the adrenaline rush and you will capture some great amazing content. But know your limits and don't push it if you don't feel confident that day, because one mistake and, well, your drone will smash to pieces. So yeah, step by step, bro. And let's now talk about how to actually practice for your first proximity dive. Definitely start in an open grass area, master the split S turns and throttle management, and what I mean by that is that after you fully release the throttle and start diving down, your goal is to capture yourself as close to the ground as possible. The key to do that successfully is throttle management and pitching back to level your drone. You'll need to learn when to start applying the throttle again during the dive and how much throttle to apply. And yeah, once you master catching yourself as close above the ground as possible and you know the throttle management, you understand the pitch and the roll movement, try to do dives against the trees. And after, well, it's time to find a waterfall, a building, a nice mountain ridge and have some fun. Okay, you've mastered split S diving in your safe practice environment and now you're ready to visit that epic location and dive it. What I recommend to do first is to inspect the area, take your time to slowly cruise around, familiarize yourself with the environment and search for any hidden traps or tree branches or wires, stuff like that, and also plan your entry point. Do some practice dives a few meters away from the waterfall to warm up your fingers, and when you feel confident to go for it, the easiest entry point is at the top of the waterfall. All you need to do is a split S and go straight down. The second entry point in this case would be above the waterfall. The higher you go, the faster you will dive and more precise you will have to be. And to make it even more interesting, I also did some spirals down the waterfall, so it's not just a straight down dive, but you also make it look more dynamic and you can really be creative. I hope you guys got some valuable information out of this tutorial. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. Also make sure to check other cinematic FPV tutorials on my channel, and guess what? I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.